Okay. It says we are live.
Hello,
Hello,
YouTube.
Hello.
We will now refer to Blake as YouTube. Okay.
I've been called worse. I'm here to tell you. I am here to tell you.
They bully you in junior high by calling you YouTube. I don't even know what that means.
I know.
That's a nonsense word. Yeah, well, in 15 years, that's going to mean something.
Yeah, if I had good foresight, I could have, bought that domain. Like, I better hold on to that.
If domains were a thing you could buy yet.
All right. I guess we're all here. Got thumbs up in the chat, so that I suppose means it's time to go. All right. As usual, everything will be fixed in post in 6 months. Oh yes. Yes. Forgot to. All right. Yeah, we have puppet renditions of ourselves.
Long story.
Maybe we'll hear more about it later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know when the last one was. Long time ago. But anyway, okay.
Don't know.
No one can ever know.
Yeah, it was. I remember I made a Q1 joke, so I think it was March.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. March.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds right.
It's May 3rd, 2026, and welcome to episode 291 of the Retrocomputing Roundtable. The RCR is a podcast about retro computer news, nostalgia, collecting, puppets, gophers, coffee cams, and the like. I'm Paul Hagstrom near Boston. I am joined today by two retrocomputing enthusiasts. We have Quinn in an undisclosed mountain location in British Columbia. How are you?
Hello, I am excellent.
Awesome. I have shown the stream my thumbs up.
Yes, good.
Which was totally pointless.
Quality podcasting.
Yep.
Making hand gestures to each other.
Right. Also joining us is Blake Patterson from the DC area. How are you?
I'm doing well. Just took a nice walk outside. Very sunny, very brisk. But yep, doing as well as I can expect. So.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, it's winter's gone, but summer's not here yet.
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been in the evening, late evening, I like to go out on the porch for a bit, and it literally has been, I think, for the past 7-8 days, alternating heavy jacket, heavy winter jacket, or t-shirt, heavy winter jacket, t-shirt, night to night, and it's interesting. But yes, I think that can only go on for so long. So
right.
I think we're near the end.
Yeah. Okay, so we are doing episode 291, which in recent history has meant that we would be looking at the year 1991. So we're sort of tracking the years with our episode numbers, and the years are getting sort of recent. 1991 felt like it's getting a little bit late, but still it seems like there were things that we could talk about in 1991. So not sure how much further into the future we will go with this topic plan, but at least for today, we are going to talk about 1991. So I guess, well, actually, Blake, you said you had a 1991 story you wanted to relate, so maybe we could start with that.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, I guess I was looking at I have my list of the computers that I with much fickle preference swaying back and forth. I moved through quite a few, and in 1991, I actually went from an Amiga 1200 to a Mac LC. Mac LC came out in late 1990, but it was in the latter part of 1991 that I purchased when I was in college at the time, and I think a big appeal of it. I had not had a Mac since in '85, a year after the original Mac launched. Very briefly, I had an original Mac 128, and I hadn't had another Mac until the LC. Of course, I was it was the LC quite a powerhouse system.
Yeah, I was going to say, So it was a straight LC. It was not an LC2, 3,
It
or
was
75.
Yeah, it was the LC, original LC. So it was inexpensive. I believe I was looking a little bit this morning. It's the LC with its little cute 12-inch 512 by 384 fixed resolution color display retailed for $3,500 less than a Mac 2. They had the same CPU, but very, critically important in discussing the LC is the fact that the 32-bit 68020 was sitting on a 16-bit multiplexed bus, and so that dramatically impacted its performance. It also was limited to a maximum of 10 megs of RAM, which probably was much less of a limitation, really, given the day and RAM prices. But yeah, I had the original LC. It was I actually wasn't following. It's funny to think about. I wasn't following the Mac. As an Amiga user, I was completely unaware that this computer had been out for over a year, and I was started dating someone, and ended up noticing on the desk in their room was this Mac I'd never seen before, and what is this? And so that was the Mac LC, and I looked into it and decided, okay, well, that might be a cool thing to get. I liked the vibe of the Mac, and it was color, and but I think the big thing was I got it paired with a style writer, and I liked the notion of basically that was the first time I came across any personal experience with a inkjet printer, and so that approximated laser printers for all of us back when laser printers were still dramatically more expensive. So it seemed like a nice setup. I was in college, and I was producing a great deal of papers for part of my just going through the courses, and so it was a nice combo. Aside from the very, very, very slow printing to the style writer as it was rendered as the Mac on its 16-bit bus with, I think I had like 2 or maybe 4 megs of RAM, was having to render the PostScript, or actually render the vector fonts. I guess it wasn't PostScript, but it still had to render the vector fonts. And I remember reading when I was preparing to purchase it in the college library, they had a Macworld issue that few issues back that reviewed the style writer, and it talked about the author came to the conclusion that it was slow. He realized at the end that Mac LC was the printing was so slow because the style writer was reading the documents as it was printing them. He concluded that must be the case because that's the only reason why it could possibly be that slow. It was slow. But it was a fun computer. I didn't have it but a year, and I moved on to something else. But the LC, as Paul was hinting at, there was the LC, the LC2, and the LC3. The LC2 and the LC were almost exactly the same speed. The 2 had a 68030, which gave it. It was the same 16 megahertz clock speed, 68030 on the LC2, 68020 on the LC, but they were both on a 16-bit bus. And the main performance difference, aside from the inbuilt memory manager, was 256 bytes of additional L1 cache. So the LC2 was almost exactly the same speed as the LC, but the LC3 was kind of a golden sweet spot. I'm kind of surprised I didn't end up with one of those. It was had a proper 32-bit bus, 25 megahertz, 68030. It was fast and it was nice. And so yeah, that was, if you're going to get an LC, get that LC3. But anyway, so yeah, I have memories of using that for a year or so, and I have for those on the YouTube portion of our live broadcast, I have a picture of my LC setup, a dark picture on a found film that I had developed fairly recently, showing I had a LC on the desk. It just shows us a messy room with an LC, a style writer next to it, stickers in the window, and I think there's a 2400 baud modem just kind of thrown in there as well. But yes, it was that was my LC. I don't have photographs of many of the old systems. I wish I had taken more pictures, but this one I found on a roll of film that was tucked in the back of a drawer that I had developed a few years ago, and that was a nice little win for me. I found several such photos of different systems, but not that many, unfortunately, with the same approach. But anyway, yeah. So that's my, I guess that's my, new computing situation of 91 is always going to be that LC for me. And it was fun, but kind of slow.
That's a neat photo. I really like photos of people's setups from back in the day like that. I don't know, because it's authentic, there's like you see the machines set up in museums or people who collect them nowadays, but seeing the actual, like how people really used them at the time is always cool. Like seeing what other stuff was on their desk, for example, or, you can see contemporary CDs sitting on the desk or posters on the wall. That's like, I love the 80s like the 80s photographs of people's Commodore 64, and there's like a Glass Tiger poster on the wall or something, it's, and it's on like a bad fake wood grain desk or whatever, that's the authentic experience as opposed to looking at them in a museum or somewhere.
Yeah, it is fun to look back for myself as well. I can remember, one of the items on the desk when I saw this, looking at it coming into the show, was, well, there's a remote control. What is that? I forgot that I had a component CD player back when CD players were the size and shape of VCRs, and I just had the IR remote control so I could, control my tunes across the room, and it's a big old remote sitting on the desk. Yes, a time gone by, but anyway, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, I
like those two.
I never took photos of my machines, and I kind of regret it now because it would have been fun to look at.
Yeah, I really think if I could go back, and like one thing tied to this hobby that we enjoy would be just get a Polaroid. Take a picture of everything. Take one picture of everything. And I just didn't do anything approaching that. I've got a handful, but yeah, I so would enjoy seeing all those setups. But yeah, didn't think.
Yeah, I think there's something about that. Like it at the time, it doesn't seem important. Right. Like even though, like I'm sure, like all of you, I spent 10 hours a day, in front of that machine or in front of each of those machines. But at the time it was just life, and we didn't take photographs of life. We took photographs of vacations. And so,
right.
I've got lots of photos of us camping or whatever that I don't really care about. But, the emotional stuff that looking back on it was the computing, but no one thought to take photos of that. So,
yeah. And, film, you had 12, 14, 18 pictures
yes,
on a roll of film. You take the pictures, and then you might forget what's on there. Should I use this for this? Use this one shot for that.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
You couldn't just take pictures everywhere, and you had to pay to have them developed. You paid for the film, you paid to get it developed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, photography.
And you had to wait a week.
Expensive. Yeah,
often had to wait a week to get it back, so you didn't get that immediate, payback either. So
yeah, it's a really good point. It was precious to take a photo, so we reserved it for the things that we felt were important. It turns out we were often wrong about what was going to be important. But
I've got boxes of photos. I can tell you, there's some pictures in there that are not important. But
everybody has to like take their own photo of like the Grand Canyon or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. There's rolls and rolls of blurry photos of the Grand Canyon in photo albums all over the world that are a waste of film.
Yeah. Oh, I got this new book on the Grand Canyon. Wait. I've got pictures. Hold on. I took it with my 110, my Kodak 110. Here, hold on. Let me get them out of this shoebox. This was live.
My thumb is very well in focus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Well, nowadays we've swung too hard the other way. Like every week I literally delete 200 photos of my cat off of my phone because I just keep taking them, and I think they're fascinating in the moment, and then I realize I have 16 copies of the cat doing that thing already. I don't need 16 more of them. So I've just started deleting them without even looking at them.
Yeah, it's just funny. Relatedly, I was trying to do something with an Atari ST as a little project, and I had two CRTs next to each other on the setup, and I was trying to get a picture where both of the CRTs happened to be not completely off sync as far as the screens being mostly lit, and I took 74 photographs of the setup and picked one that actually worked, and then I deleted the rest. So yes, we've come quite a bit in the other direction, I think. But anyway,
Well,
so
that's
that
also
was
why it's also why all of those old photos of people's computer setups are all terrible, because of course you couldn't
one
look at
shot.
what you were taking. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
one shot at it, and most people were not good photographers, so that people didn't know
True.
anything about lighting or focus or composition. So they're all dark and blurry and poorly composed, and the kid's making a weird face or whatever, and it's like, well, we didn't find out until a week later if it was going to be any good.
And your camera or phone, as it is today, didn't actually take 5 separate images and use an AI with trillions of flops per second to do the combinatorial perfection. No, we just looked through a little plastic screen that had a square carved into it.
Yeah,
and
there
that
was
your
a rough estimate of
your
what the camera
preview.
could
Yeah.
see. Yeah,
a little bit rough.
Yeah.
Shooting from the hip just a little bit. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's interesting to see what has survived sort of skeuomorphically from that time, because my current high-end digital DSLR camera has a bracketing feature where you can take one photo and it will take 5 photos on either side of that photo with different exposure and f-stop settings, and and different ISO and f-stops. And that was a technique that photographers used in the film era to get around that problem of not knowing if you had everything correct when you took that photo. You took 10 photos with a range of f-stops and speeds, and pick the one that was good after they were developed. So it's just funny that cameras still do that now, but it's sort of useless because I can just look at it on the screen and see if it's good or not.
Yeah, very good point. Technology. But yes, that was 1991 fun for me.
Yeah. The one thing I was going to say about the LC is I did sort of follow the Mac. I guess my first Mac was an SE30, and I was in college with somebody who had an LC, and so I really felt like that thing crawled. So I was thinking that maybe actually it is a good college computer, because you're not going to waste your time playing games. Because it's just too painful.
Yeah,
you said, I was going to say, you said you had an LC 30. I'm sorry, I misheard what you.
I had an SE30. I went to college and got an SE30, and I think that was probably already faster than the LC.
I was going to say that was the speed demon relative to everything. I mean, that tore the LC away hugely. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
But I suppose if you were coming from a Mac 128K, then
Well, I didn't come straight across. I meandered a bit into other brands, but anyway, I'm sorry to cut you off, Quinn.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think the LC did have a bit of a niche there, because you said university computer, and it's funny, so my sister had an LC too, and for that exact same reason, she bought it for writing term papers on. And I think for a lot of people like her, it didn't seem slow to her because she had no basis for comparison. She came straight to that from those word processors, those dedicated word processor machines with the little one-line screen, like the juiced up typewriters. So it was kind of her first real computer. So for her, it was fine. And all she was doing was writing term papers on it. And she got sucked into AOL a little bit and did that on it. And for those two things, it was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And it was cheap. Like they were pretty low cost. So that's why a lot of folks like her got drawn into them, because it was like, oh, people liked Macs. They could see that they were good, but they were always so ridiculously overpriced. And I mean, they still are, but here was one that was sort of somewhat reasonably priced. And at the time, I mean, PCs got so bewildering. Like you had to be such a nerd to even buy a PC to understand all the options and stuff. So I think they came along at the right moment for some people, like my sister, who was never going to learn about ISA buses and IRQs and EGAs and whatevers and all the MBs and the GBs. But you go into a future shop and here's this LC sitting there, and it's like, oh, buy it, and it's a computer and it does email and term papers. It just works.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing about the LC, which is, it's sort of a notable thing for people in my orbit, is that it's the one that has the slot for the Apple TV card.
Yeah.
So I think they also sold it to all the high schools or whatever that felt like the Apple IIe was too old.
It was the last Mac, right? Or the only Mac that could use the 2E card. Is that right?
I think so. I think it's all in the LC series.
Didn't Carrington have a different Performa or something? I mean, I know there's variants of the LC that are basically called Performa, but wasn't there a different system? Was it the 575? Something that he said it's the perfect machine for the Apple II card, and I feel like it wasn't directly an LC.
Yeah,
Or
so
maybe it was just a renamed LC.
So I think all these like LC. Let's see. What do I have here? I have a 475 LC 475 here, which I think is one of the last LCs, but the Color Classic can also do it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Boy,
that's probably what he would have said.
That chart you were looking at just reminded me of why 91 maybe with the last year we do this, because not only is it recent, we're also getting into the kind of the boring years and also
Yeah.
the year of absolutely incomprehensible Macs. Like there are just
Yeah.
600 different Mac models, and nobody understands the differences between them. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for the
There's an
podcast
LC3
listeners,
Plus.
Paul's got a chart on the screen here. It's an overlapping timeline of the releases of the Macintosh Centris, LC, Performa, and Quadra models. And each of those literally has 10 different models under those names, and they all overlap arbitrarily. It's like, oh, I mean, I was into this stuff and I didn't understand this product line. Like, yeah. I bought one Mac during this period. I had a Centris 660 AV, and I clung to that thing with a death grip until the era was over, until Mac OS 10, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that chart almost looks sort of like one of those. I've seen a timeline chart of the movie Primer.
Yeah, it does look like that.
Complex, very much like that. But I remember I had a couple of friends that were big Mac users. At the time when I was using the Amiga and all that. And then after the LC, shortly after I ended up on a combination of Amigas and then, 486 DOS, that kind of thing. I wasn't following, the Mac again once I walked away from it. But I would go into CompUSA or something and I would see, Computerland, I'd wander into these stores a lot and I would see so many different systems and I had no clue what, I wonder if this is way faster than the other one, or these two look almost exactly alike, except that one's a little more rounded. Does that mean? Yeah. What's the difference?
Yeah.
It was dizzying.
Well, in the model, the nomenclature, like what's the difference between a Performa 588 CD and a Performa 5400? Like what? None of that makes any sense.
Yeah. I always thought that was one of the
list. It's like, you can get 475, 476, 575, 577, 578. All in the same, like there is a year when you could do all this. 630, 631, 635, 636, 637, 638. And it's like, I wonder if some of those were like store exclusives or something. Like if you went to Best Buy, you could get a 637.
Yeah. Well, and you know that some of them are just crippled versions. Like it was bad enough in the Mac 2 era when you had the 2 CI and the 2 SI. And they were both the same machine, but the SI was just crippled. And so you had to know, or was it the 2CX and the 2CI? And one of them was just a crippled version of the other one.
The SI was heavily hobbled.
But they were basically the same price, and you just had to know that and go in and buy the good one. So I have a feeling there's a bunch of that going on here. It's kind of like the PC version of this was the SX chips, right? There'd be the 486, 386, and then the DX and the SX, and the DXs were the good ones, and the SXs were the ones that failed a bunch of tests, and so they put them in the discount machines. But if you didn't know that technical detail, then you would buy one and end up with a crappy machine.
Yeah, very, very confusing. I think that always seemed like one of the very best things, that when jobs came back and there was a big flush out of situations, they dropped the printers, but also 4 quadrants, basically 4 machines, which I think just was, I welcome that greatly as far as understanding what was what.
For all of Jobs' flaws, he did understand that this product lineup was killing the company. Like, we should sell 2 things, iMacs and Power Macs, and that's it. So he got that right for sure.
All right, so that pretty much covers what, 1990, I guess. But
Well, my personal 91, but yes.
yeah. Okay, let's see. So one of the things at least I often do when I'm trying to figure out what's going on in one of these years is I look at there's two sites that sort of go over timelines of years. The Computer History Museum has one, and there's this Computer Hope site. So I can sort of dig through a couple of these. One of the ones that gets featured is Linux. Apparently, that was basically was released in 1991. Let's see.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, everything's earlier than I think it is. 91. Wow. Huh.
And meanwhile, I thought Linux was around forever. But
Oh,
yes.
I thought it was like 2000s. Like I always think of Linux as being quite recent.
Yeah. I don't have that much to say about it exactly. I mean, I think, except, usually when you disparage it.
Yeah, no, Linux. I mean, it's fine. It's Unix, but worse.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
Right.
you heard me. Come at me, nerds. Linux ruined
checked
Unix. Yeah. So everyone's got that on their big bingo cards.
Yep.
I mean, it's better than nothing. But yeah, the days of System 5 and BSD were better. Just saying.
Another thing that started in 91 was Unicode. So now we can, actually text each other little
Yeah.
fire emojis.
Yeah, exactly. Now we just communicate entirely in hieroglyphics, especially if you're under the age of 20.
Yeah. So, yeah. And again, I don't have that much to say about it, but there it is. What else? Oh yeah, Visual Basic showed up in 1991, and so I think it's actually sort of. Has anyone worked with Visual Basic at all in here?
I have not, but it has a lot of fans. Like I think I poo-pooed it at the time, but people who like it really like it, and I think it was very accessible it was an accessible entry point to programming and scripting for a lot of people, and I think it added a lot of horsepower to things like Excel because you could put VB programs into cells and things like that. So I think it's well regarded generally, but I never used it.
When I was at one point, I guess around, I guess it was around the year 2000, the century switch. I was doing Microsoft ASP development before it was called .NET, and VB Script was the standard language. It wasn't Visual Basic, but it was sort of a tighter, offshoot of that. But yeah, it didn't.
Well, and to be clear,
VB Script and JScript.
Yeah,
What's
and
that?
to be clear, those are different bloodlines. So Visual Basic begat VB Script, but the Visual Basic .NET is a new thing. When the .NET came along later, they reintroduced a new thing that they had then again called it Visual Basic, which is very confusing, but it's unrelated to the original Visual Basic.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, it's a .NET language like C# that happens to have basic-like syntax. And because they're using the visual branding, they went and called it Visual Basic again, which is super confusing. So it's a completely different animal than Visual Basic 6.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, we use VB Script, and then actually more frequently use JScript, which was sort of more JavaScript-like but on the server side anyway. Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, VB Script is the default language for active server pages. Yeah, I didn't. I'd forgotten. I did actually do a fair amount of ASP programming, but I'd forgotten that was related. Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually just sort of interesting, just that the degree to which BASIC lived on, because it did feel like once you got to GUIs, I don't know, it stopped being a sensible development language for me.
Yeah,
and it wasn't easy even to find on like the Mac.
Yeah,
I think I noticed on the during the live recording here, we're looking at the Wikipedia page for Visual Basic, and towards the bottom I saw mention of Lotus Script, another platform that I developed in was Lotus Notes Domino, and I recall that was felt VB Script, Visual Basic derived, And apparently, yes, it looks like Lotus Script was a VBA variant, part of Lotus Notes Domino. So interesting.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I was a snob about Visual Basic at the time, but in hindsight, I actually appreciate it quite a bit because it makes sense. They were looking for a high-level scripting language for all of their products, especially for like automating office procedures and so on. And Basic, for the same reason it was back in the day, is a good choice because it has an approachable syntax. It's very simple and easy for people to pick up. And so all they had to do was add a bunch of modern constructs or keywords to it, but the structure and syntax of Basic is just as approachable as it was, when it was invented. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. I kind of like it for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was either that or do what Apple did, right, with Apple Script, where they tried to create a very English-looking kind of thing, and that's almost worse. Like Apple Script is quite difficult to program in a sense because it's trying to be very Englishy, but it's sort of an uncanny valley of English because if you actually just try to write English sentences, they won't compile. So you have to write this weird, twisted subset of English that will compile. Whereas Basic doesn't try to do that. It just tries to just be a simple syntax.
Yeah, I guess it's like, so you can read Apple scripts, but it's harder to write them.
Yes,
maybe
that's a great way.
like what Palm did too. Like
that's a great way to put it. Yeah. It's very readable, but very difficult to write. Yeah.
The Palm did a sort of similar thing with graffiti, and actually, graffiti. I discovered this. I probably mentioned this too, but graffiti did exist for the Newton. So instead of writing, trying to recognize handwriting and getting it all wrong, you just train people, like to write in a way that the computer can read.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember at the time people telling me not to use it because it would apparently wear out that one part of the screen on the Newton because it wasn't made to be used that way. But so I was always scared to use it for that reason. But I think I did eventually switch to it because the Newton's thing was just so bad.
Yeah. There was just sort of going off on the Visual Basic thing. There was a thing called Real Basic that I spent a little bit of time with.
Yeah, I remember that.
A little bit later. Yeah. But it was. I mean, it was written. It seems to me like it's the same kind of thing as Visual Basic. I never really used Visual Basic, but this, it had a whole IDE. It actually reminds me a little bit of like Interface Builder on the Next. You sort of like program little bits and they all sort of respond, and then you could compile your program to run both on Mac and Windows, which that was the thing I thought was nice about it.
Yeah, Basic keeps coming back around because when you want something with an approachable syntax, it's still a good choice to this day.
A number of people that I've worked with over my various lives as a developer, I know some were very frequent in their use of Visual Basic to get little tasks done in Windows, maybe tying into some exposed Windows APIs, just doing, I need to take care of this real quick. Let me just do a Visual Basic script. Most of those people have shifted, and I wonder if this is pretty much a standard go-to, has shifted to Python as the go-to for that sort of thing. And my Python has only really been connected to playing with Raspberry Pi, controlling little gadget hats sitting on the unit or things like that. Does that seem like something? Have you seen that as well, or?
Yeah, I think that's
Python is everywhere.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, I would agree with that. That I have also pretty much taken up Python as my go-to like widget language for doing quick little tasks. I think the edge that Visual Basic had was that Microsoft integrated it into everything. So you could write a script that ran in your shell that like did some stuff in a spreadsheet and then copied it into a Word document and then like printed it or did some stuff like because Microsoft owned the stack, they integrated it into everything compared to like Python is trapped in its own environment, or like you look at Apple Script on the Mac and they kind of only half baked that. Like it was supported by some stuff, but not everything. And a lot of stuff, it didn't work very reliably. And then recent attempts like Automator are just terrible because nothing supports it. So like Apple keeps trying and they've never quite gotten it as good as Microsoft did. So credit where it's due for that, the level of integration that Microsoft got. I mean, I guess the flip side is that's why it was also a security disaster. Like there were hundreds of Visual Basic viruses, that would ruin all your Excel.
Yeah.
Like you could open an Excel document that you downloaded and it would corrupt your hard drive, because it was a little too integrated. Like there was just no guardrails on anything. So that's the flip side.
That's what I remember, the word macro virus, which would always sweep through the offices. That was basically Visual Basic.
It was all Visual Basic. Yeah. Same reason. Yeah. You could
don't open that document, whatever you do. Okay.
Yeah. There's no way to write a spreadsheet that can ruin your machine on the Mac. So I guess that's the flip side, but
Speaking of Python, Python was first released in 1991.
Oh, hey, how about that? So. I mean, of course, that's why I brought it up.
Right.
That's much earlier than I thought. Python had existed for. Interesting.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Very much. Huh.
Yeah, it does. At least now, in computer science classes at the university I'm at, Python is what you learn. I mean, so like when I was in college, it was Pascal, but Python has taken over, and I think maybe there was probably C in there somewhere along the lines, but.
I think that's pretty universally true. My nephew took a little bit of programming classes like in high school, and it was all Python. It seems to be what they teach.
We did Pascal as well way back when.
Yeah, Pascal was the education language of choice back then for sure. It's funny, I remember when Python came out, I was a snob about that too, because I was a Perl snob at the time. So I think the takeaway is that Quinn is a snob and maybe a Luddite.
Perl.
I do quite like Python. I spent a fair amount of time in Ruby before I spent in Python.
I've done a little bit of Ruby, yeah.
There are things about Ruby I like possibly more, but
I'm a born again convert to Python. I love it now, especially like Python 3 is it's very clean and very nice, and you can do anything in it. I love Python.
Perl, it was always so much fun to come across someone else's Perl's code and have to understand it and then enhance or modify it.
I never even tried.
Time.
I never even tried to do that. I just wrote everything. My own stuff that I wrote 3 weeks ago, I couldn't understand. So, but writing Perl made you feel very smart for an hour until you had to look at it again after lunch, and it no longer made sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's like regular expressions and then stuff on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they got drunk and just kept going.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. What else? I guess going back to the Mac briefly, System 7 showed up in 1991. So I think that was basically the first Mac color operating system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for me, it was kind of the high point of pre-Mac OS 10. Like, I feel like it just kind of slid downhill slowly after System 7. Like, System 7 was tight and it was good.
Actually, System 6 had color because I bought that LC right before System 7 came out. And I thought, oh, this will be great. I'll install System 7 on that LC. It was much too slow. So I couldn't enjoy System 7 with its new visual look. And so I had to revert back to System 6, and it had basic color, like just the outlines. It was exactly the same bitmap arrangement of folders and, disk icons. It didn't have the nice shaded gray. It was just like the outline of a folder might be red if you wanted it to be very minimal, but it did have color. And it made me very sad that the LC could not run the modern operating system of the time in any reasonable way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm sure if I'd added memory or, I don't know.
Yeah, because I think when I got my Centra 660 AV, I think it came with the last System 6, like 607 or 608. I think it's what it came with, and then I pretty immediately upgraded to System 7 after that. But yeah, I did run System 6 on that as well for a little bit.
Yeah, like I went over to a guy's house. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that like I remember there was a big sort of push for it. There were these little stickers like System 7 compatible that were on all the software and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
It had some nice, some pleasant features that made it feel like a next generation thing to me. But but yeah, I went to a guy's house and he had a beta of it. He gave me a copy of the beta right before it came out, and I installed it, and it was just slow. And I thought, oh, it's the beta, it'll be better, but it really wasn't. But it certainly felt more modern. It felt more modern than 6, certainly.
Yeah, it was a big step up at the time. They rewrote half of it, and they had a whole new look. They did a whole new graphic design on it, and I remember it being a really big deal to upgrade to that for sure. Yeah, it felt like the 6 to 7 was as big a jump as like 9 to 10 was. Like it was a completely new system, and it felt like a new machine. They introduced all kind of new features. It had all these different UI widgets that you could attach things to Windows, and you could have little toolbars, and you could detach things from Windows, and it had a lot of stuff in it.
I remember if you wanted to just quickly hook 2 systems together and move files between them. I don't remember the details, but this fellow who gave me that beta showed me the difference and how much easier it was on 7. It was just plug in and go, and it really seemed like a big improvement. But or else he had trouble handling it.
Okay, let's see. Allegedly, the first coffee machine on the internet was in 1991. The world's first webcam, where obviously the story is like, I don't want to go downstairs to see if there's coffee. I want to be just check on my screen.
I like that it was an X Windows app called X Coffee. That makes me happy.
Yeah. On an Acorn Archimedes.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Huh. Wow, 128 pixels square. That's a lot of technology devoted to that problem.
Yeah, but in a sense, I mean, like that's what's fun about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like complete overkill.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing you do in university is apply ridiculous technology to dumb problems.
Yeah,
because of course, what do you do if there is no coffee? You have to go down and make it anyway. So you might as well just go down.
Yeah,
that's not university student thinking.
Wasn't QuickTime part of System 7? Didn't it get introduced with System 7?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, I believe so. Because there was when games started using QuickTime features, and they required System 7. So like Spectre is the one that sticks out. That VR game that the
tanks.
Yeah, with the tanks. Yeah, you could play QuickTime videos on billboards in the environment, and that required System 7. Yeah, it was actually pretty cool.
I must have been scared to try that on the Mac LC. I did have that game, but I did not try to do that. What made me think about QuickTime was you mentioned that coffee pot was 128 by 128. I had a QuickTime with that System 7 beta. It came with a couple of little demo videos, like robots walking around, and they were 128 by 128. But to play them anywhere like more than 5 frames a second, I had to reduce them to 64 by 64. So that's not no hardware decompression to speak of there.
Yeah,
indeed.
Let's see. One of the things that so I was saying that this computerhope.com site has lists things that happened in 1991, and so we've seen a bunch of these things. Let's see if I can find it. Speaker. Okay. This one jumped out at me. The first external computer speaker was invented by Abhinawan Purachiadis, something like that, in 1991. I thought, what does that mean?
First external computer speaker?
I mean, come on.
I don't know about that.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But so I think what they're, not to be confused with computer speakers, I think what they meant, I don't know what they meant. Let's see.
I mean, I had an external speaker on my Apple II, so I don't know what this is.
On my 2C as well. I plugged one in. It was a Radio Shack, just bare speaker.
Yeah. Radio Shack sold an amplified speaker that you could plug into computers. Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. And the Echo 2 speech synthesizer and so forth.
Yeah.
But I think it must be that what they're talking about are these, this kind of.
Yeah, these PC speakers that were de rigueur in the 90s. Like you had to have these things hanging on your monitor or whatever to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were beige or whatever. Yeah.
It did feel
Like a
to
pretty
me like
hazy milestone. Anyway,
Yeah, like I guess
exactly.
I guess he sort of invented a product subcategory that also
Yes.
sort of already existed, but all right.
yeah. Okay, let's see. Only a couple more things I wanted to mention. PGP was 1991.
Oh, PGP. Yeah. That was a beautiful dream. Remember when we were all putting our public keys in our Usenet SIGs?
The SIGs. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then no one cared.
Yeah. Anyway, there another thing that was listed as 1991 was id.
Oh,
So
Okay.
I don't think this was when Doom was, but this was when whatever that was, Dangerous Dave or whatever that's called.
Commander Keen? Was
Commander
that under?
Keen.
That's what it was.
Yeah. I think that was Carmack's first thing on the PC anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, attempting Mario, basically.
Yeah, which sold just well enough to get them going on Wolfenstein, if memory serves.
Yeah, he found he was able to jiggle around with the standard EGA to get it to do a screen scroll in a smooth fashion.
Yeah.
And
I think it
did
says something about that in here that essentially this seemed like this technique was caught the attention of someone else, and they sort of joined forces to try to like whatever start their own company.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yep.
it did all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it. They went on to do things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Though have we complained about Quake? I think we complained about Quake last time, but
Yeah, we've talked about Quake, yeah.
Doom was good. Quake wasn't fun.
Yeah, I never understood Quake.
I liked Quake.
I think I should qualify that. For FPSs were never my thing, so I think after Doom I was just sort of over the idea. So Quake to me was just more of the same. But I understand if people like FPSs how much better it was in every way, but the genre just wasn't my thing. So I'm not a fair critiquer of it. But it was very brown. I just remember low res and brown is all I can remember about Quake.
Yeah, it was Quake that killed the 46 and all of the third-party attempts at Pentium clones because Quake needed pipelined, powerful FPU, and the others could not deliver that. So Quake killed all those off. It was just Pentium for a while after that.
I mean,
with its
that's
powerful FPU.
That's its legacy right there, right? Like they sold more computers, probably more computer upgrades than any other software company. Like people upgraded their PCs every 6 months to play whatever latest thing id was putting out, or to get a better frame rate on the current id thing. Yeah, so that drove the whole industry for quite a while. Because I mean, Carmack had his what did they call it? It's kind of like it was like a blog post. What do they call those things? His
finger file. Unix finger file. No, plan
file. Plan file. That was it. Thank you. Yeah, the plan file.
Yeah. Finger file's a thing, as you know, it's just different.
Yeah, the plan file. So I don't know if you're under 30, it was like a Substack. So, but so he would post his thoughts about hardware in his plan file, and that would shift the industry. Like Carmack would say, "Oh, this is such a
definitely."
AMDs are better than Pentiums, and suddenly everyone's buying AMDs. Like he was a very influential guy during those times. And I mean, he sold a bunch of Macs because at first the first version was it Quake 3 that first came out on the Mac, because there was this like 6-month period where Macs were very slightly better for running hardware accelerated 3D than PCs were. So it first came out on the Mac and made everybody furious.
Yeah, they did a release. I remember I was so into FPSs at the time, and I remember it was at the end of some year. I guess it was, I don't know what year, early 90s, or actually early 2000s. But yeah, I downloaded it the first day, and I think it was like, it might have been a trial version that was fully functional.
Yeah,
you weren't paying for it yet.
It was Q3. Q3 demo is what it was.
Right.
And it was like the first playable version of the engine, basically. And Yeah, and it
Yep.
ran better on the Macs of the moment. And
It's like a month, like maybe 6 weeks that it was out first, and then the
Yeah.
PC came. And I remember when the
Yeah.
PC was about to launch, we were all, because I got to know some of the people like in the arena matches and be like, I guess it's going to get a little more crowded in here next week. It's like these guys might actually be a little more skilled than we are. So
Yeah.
it was true. Yeah, the PC people came in, and then I was
Yeah.
just dead all the time. But yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
like-
that well.
A couple months later, some new graphics cards came out on the PC, and that was the end of it. But yeah, there was a brief moment where the Mac was on top there. But and
Like
to
3
Carmac's credit, like he was hardware agnostic. Like he would use whatever was the best thing. He didn't care. He didn't have any particular allegiances, which was nice. It was sort of refreshing at a time when computer tribalism was sort of at its peak. Mac and PC people were extremely furious at each other all the time, and he was just using whatever was the best hardware for the job.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't actually remember this little like moment where the Mac was the best place for an id game.
Oh,
But, yeah.
It was very brief. I mean, I remember it because I was working at Bungie at the time, and so we were developing on Macs and PCs simultaneously, and so I guess that is 1991 related.
Yep.
And so I didn't start in 91 like we're talking about. I started there in 98, but that was when Q3 demo came out. And so we all had Macs and PCs on our desks because we were building Oni at the time, which was Mac and PC simultaneous release running on Voodoo 2. So we had Voodoo 2s in both machines. And so, yeah, when Q3 demo came out, then we could run it on our Macs. And so that was quite the big deal at the time.
Yeah, that was a really fun time. I was so deep into Quake 3 Arena during that one little period. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a return to Marathon. It was like all of a sudden Macs were cool again for 5 minutes.
Yeah. So Bungie also did launch in 91. So that was another thing on that list. And it did. I at least did think, okay, well now, because throughout the Doom era, I felt kind of left out.
Yeah.
Matt, it always surprised me that, like, why can't the Mac do this?
Yeah, well, so during pre-hardware acceleration, the Mac was at a distinct disadvantage because it didn't have a 320 by 200 graphics mode, and so you were having to render at 640 by 480, which means you're pushing 4 times the number of pixels for the same clock rates and the same bus width, and that was just a huge disadvantage, and that's why. Yeah, during the Wolfenstein and Doom era, Macs were just never going to be able to do it. It was just a resolution problem. But once hardware acceleration came along, the Voodoo 2 leveled the playing field completely, and that's when, for a while, we were getting simultaneous releases on both platforms. But during those periods, I was playing the isometric games because they didn't care so much about horsepower. You weren't pushing you weren't pushing every pixel every frame. So games like Civilization looked 4 times better on the Mac than they did on the PC. Like Civilization on PC was in 320 by 200. It looked like garbage, but on the Mac it was beautiful. So, and like SimCity 2000, that was the golden age for those isometric games on the Mac.
And even some platformers like Prince of Persia it was so colorful and in much higher resolution on the Mac than it was on that 320 by 200 mode in DOS PC. I was always very impressed with just how good that game looked on the Mac because I had a PC at the time. I was like, wow, that's silky smooth.
Yeah, Macs just got left out of the software rasterized 3D era because it was just too many pixels to push on a 68,000.
Yeah, I remember being pretty impressed with Pathways into Darkness. That was like the first thing that even came close.
Yeah, Pathways and Marathon were the only things that ever tried it to try and do a raycast engine on the Mac, and they were okay, but yeah, they had to run in a small window basically to be any good.
Pathways was first, right?
Yeah.
Before Marathon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Pathways was sort of their first shot at doing a raycast engine on the Mac, and I ran in a tiny window.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was pretty. It wasn't very interesting, actually. I mean, like, not much happened.
No, it wasn't a great game. No, I mean, but Marathon was so good because it was also just a good game in addition to being impressive graphically. It was actually a good game. And Pathways was not.
Yeah. I know I did like try to convince myself that look, okay, the Mac's still good. We can do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but I really wanted to like it, and I just
Yeah, I think
don't
we
know.
all said that about Pathways. I mean, I did the same thing. I remember I'm like, oh, look, Pathway, oh, it's so good. It's like, yeah, no, it's not really.
Yeah.
And you'd go to your
Yeah.
friend's house and play Wolfenstein on their 386, and you're like, oh, geez, this is way better. Dang it.
Yeah. I know when I one of the like programming projects I did, I guess this was in college, was actually like a Doom map editor on the Mac, which was
Oh.
was pretty goofy because of course like I couldn't play it on the Mac,
Yeah.
but I could edit the maps.
That's sort
That's
of
pretty cool. You wrote it from scratch?
Yeah, I forget exactly. I mean, like it was the WAD file or whatever that's called is
the
fairly
WAD
Yeah.
files. Yeah.
their their format is figure outable.
Yeah.
So like what I was trying to do, what I was actually trying to do. I think I mentioned this before that when I was in graduate school, we were in this like big. It was like a World War II temporary building, housing a whole lot of stuff. Like the Tech Model Railroad Club was there, and like a bunch of other stuff. But it was just a bunch of hallways, and it seemed like it would be a perfect for like a Doom level or like a marathon level or whatever. So I actually found the place that my office was kind of off some kind of like old library or whatever, and I did find like blueprints of this building. So I sort of mapped it out and tried to figure out exactly like how to make this into a playable level with like actual proportions being correct and stuff like that. I don't actually know what happened to it. I don't know if I still have it. It's I spent a lot of time doing it, but I don't know if I still have the map. Anyway,
It's a-
whatever.
There's a funny historical parallel there because people used to use Apple IIs to write Commodore 64 software because the Apple II had 80 columns and fast disk drives. So it was a better system for productivity, for editing code on and such. But then, of course, the Commodore was actually better at playing the games. So kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Put your level editor on the Mac where it's better. But then,
Right.
which, of course, is what id did as well. Like they did all of their productivity backend stuff on Next.
Yeah.
So all like their WAD editors and stuff were all Next step applications. But of course, the Next didn't actually play Doom until much later when people ported it.
Yeah, although I do have a version of Doom. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
Yeah, there is
ported
a version.
eventually. Yeah, it was ported eventually, but it wasn't like an initial release for id. Like it was, I think it was a fan back port.
Oh,
but
interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah.
I sort of assumed that was the real one.
I don't. I'm speaking off the cuff there. I'm not certain about that, but yeah,
I'm
they
not
were
certain either
developed,
way.
but they were targeting PC primarily, but did all of their compiling and level editing on the Next.
That's cool. It's like one of the few things I've launched on the Next that I own here, but and it doesn't have sound. I think like it's not quite the same experience, but yeah. Okay, we probably have done enough for 1991, so we can move on from that, I guess, to the items of interest and news. And Blake, you have the first of these.
Yes. Well, it is this year marks the 50th anniversary of Apple Computer Incorporated. I guess it was first Apple Computer Incorporated, then Apple Inc., and now we're just Apple. Yes, famously, I think on April 1st, 1976, the company was founded. Was it just the three? The initial, it was Jobs, Wozniak, and Ron Wayne. I don't remember. Were they the only three? That's what I'm not certain exactly if there was an additional. Yeah, I guess we'll go with just the three.
I don't remember. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Poor Ron.
Let's we can assert that it was those three and one other person so that we can generate feedback.
Yes.
But yes, so
I think it was
50th anniversary.
Pete Best, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry,
perhaps.
go ahead.
Yep. So yeah, where I was coming in with this is that sort of in honor of that, share my screen. In honor of that, the people might remember Apple collectors that back in early '80s there was I guess they probably remember the toy more than the actual vehicle. There was a Porsche Apple die-cast metal car that they would sold as a toy that had Apple livery, as advertising livery as racing cars often did, and that was a rendering of the 1980 Porsche. It was the 935 K3 in Le Mans in 1980, ran with Apple sort of rainbow Apple colors. That was the logo color. That was the company's color back then, and it was all rather nicely done up with the Apple branding, and so that competed in the race. And in order to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Apple, as well as the 75th anniversary, which coincides by year, of Porsche Motorsport, that group of the racing group of the car auto company. They have re-liveried, if that's a verb, one of the new more recent vehicle for the race. I'm trying to find the model. It's a Porsche 963, and it looks very cool. It's the story I first encountered on Mac Rumors. There's some shots of the car and a bit of history. I think the Apple put out a statement saying, "We've enjoyed a long-standing relationship with Porsche, going back to 1980 when a Porsche race car first carried the Apple logo. That moment marked the beginning of a shared passion for innovation and creativity that continues to define our collaboration today. As Apple celebrates its 50th anniversary, we're proud to once again partner with Porsche on a design that pays tribute to the original 1980 livery." And so it sounds like Apple was, I guess, the designer there. I mean, they provided, I guess, the assets and the design, but it's a very cool looking car. There's also on the actual Porsche site, there's a little more information that goes into it with a few more pictures. But yeah, and then there's a picture of the original, the 1980. It looks like a rather more snazzy car. I guess race cars have evolved over the years, as have Apple computers. So there you go. But yeah, that's kind of an interesting little note. I was surprised to see that, and it does seem like a nice touch for the 50th anniversary. I guess that will make the. I know there are always sort of unobtainium prize pieces if you could get your hand on one of these model cars on eBay, especially new in box. I've seen a few go across. Lord knows what those will go for now, but I'm sure Paul has 3 of these vehicles in the room that he's sitting in. Am I right?
I do not, as it turns out, but probably
I see.
James from Retro Maccast does.
Oh yeah, you think so?
As for the difference between the cars, so I'm a bit of a Le Mans nerd. So this new Porsche looks different because it's I believe they're competing in P2, which is a different class. The original 80s Apple livery Porsche was competing in one of the sports car classes. So it looks more like a factory Porsche with a little bit of fairing at it. But this one this is just the P2 class is just, those are all out race cars built to race and nothing else. So that would be why they look so different.
Okay, yeah, I was looking back at the older image. It looks kind of like a sort of a swollen Porsche 944 with
exactly. They don't look that different than a 911 that would have been riding on the street.
Or 911, I guess, from that. Yeah. But anyway, I was surprised, and I found that to be a pretty cool little throwback there. So I call that nifty.
We were talking about this off mic, that this is something that probably never would have happened when Jobs was alive, because he was vehemently opposed to any sort of looking backwards or historical acknowledgement. Yeah, as far as he was concerned, yesterday didn't exist, and he would have, I'm sure, refused to let the rainbow logo surface again in any way, shape, or form.
I think you're 100% right. I've actually enjoyed over the past year and now most intensively leading, here at the 50th anniversary, Apple's created some, you know, actual Instagram accounts that are specifically related to Apple 50.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed the rainbow renderings, kind of
Yeah.
very loose artistic renderings of the Apple logo. They definitely put a smile on my face, and I do know that we absolutely would never have seen that
Yeah.
if Jobs were still around. And I don't know. I can't agree with that. But yeah, it's been pretty nice. And even going back a couple of years, not really talking about the 50th, but there've been, when there've been some big announcements, Apple has, pulled out the kind of thrown out the colors in some of their, event renderings, and
Yeah.
that's been nice to see for me. So
Yeah, I like that they acknowledge their history, and I mean, we finally got a museum in Cupertino, an Apple museum, which they, I think, started building pretty much the day he died, because they always wanted to build one, and Jobs refused to let them have any kind of history museum at the company. And so yeah, now we have that, which is pretty cool if you're ever in the area to go see that.
is that I don't think I realized that they had an actual space. So there is effectively what you'd call an Apple museum, like on the new campus. Or
I don't know, but I don't know where it is or if it is on the new campus. It was originally built when they were still on One Infinite Loop, the old campus. So
okay,
I don't know if they've moved it to the Flying Saucer yet or not, but I assume they have at this point. But I haven't been back to Apple since they built the new campus.
Okay.
But,
That's very cool.
yeah.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, it was neat. It was like a museum / gift shop. So they had all of the old
Sure,
machines
sure.
set up, and then you could buy posters and stuff. It was neat.
Nice. I approve.
So let me just jump in with a random thing here. So one of our commenters in the stream is asking about Nintendo developing on SGI in this same period. This would have been 96, 97. And I can actually speak to that because I was doing that at the time. And yes, that is somewhat true. So the Nintendo 64's graphics hardware was developed by SGI, and the very first dev systems were a graphics card that you put in an Indie. And so you actually plugged in Nintendo 64 controllers into this graphics card that was inside your Indie and developed the software from there. It was not unlike developing on the Voodoo 2, actually, because the graphics card had its own dedicated monitor. So you had a second monitor that just displayed the Nintendo 64 output. But that was short-lived because that's obviously an extremely expensive setup. That's 10 grand per seat to develop on a machine like that. So I happened to be working at an early N64 developer, and Nintendo leased the machines to us because of how expensive they were. And then shortly thereafter, they got a development cartridge that plugged into a normal machine and plugged into a regular PC. But yeah, for a brief period there, yes, Nintendo development was done on SGIs.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So I'll go somewhat out of order from what I have in the notes, but so one thing I came across just today. So this video was posted 18 hours ago as we record, or 6 months ago as you hear it on the feed. but the video is called "I Recreated the Apple Lisa Computer Inside an FPGA," the Lisa FPGA project, and so that it is basically, as it says, it's a board that has like all of the Lisa on like a little 1-inch square.
Wow.
And then, but then, sort of all the support stuff around it. So it's got the ports, so you could plug in actual Lisa stuff to it. It's got the, the various ports you can plug in a disk drive. It's got a speaker on it, and it has some extra stuff, modern stuff like HDMI out. Little switches that let you select all the different ROM types and stuff. So the Lisa had, like, there was a ROM that supported 400K floppies, and then there was a ROM that supported 800K, and you can switch those back and forth. You can switch the aspect ratio. So Lisa originally did not have rectangular pixels, and so, but when you want to run Mac stuff on it, then that makes the Mac stuff look very weird. So there was an upgrade kit that you could put in an actual Lisa that would sort of fix that. And here's just like a little switch. And he also has, there's some sort of fast mode. I forget. I think it goes something like 4 times faster than an actual Lisa goes, which that is a big help. But so in the video, this is Alex Electronics, and in the video, he just sort of like takes you through like what's on the board and what all the little switches are and what they do, and then and it plugs into like USB keyboards and mice and stuff like that. I think as well as if you wanted to plug in an actual keyboard, you could. I don't know for sure about that, but it does look like it. Oops. Okay. Well, then we'll watch an ad here for a minute. That's excellent. Okay, but yeah. Okay. So then eventually he does get around to like turning it on, and it's just like a Lisa on his screen,
Wow.
running 4 times faster. But and I think that would make a Lisa
amazing.
much more tolerable.
Yeah, that is really amazing. I can't even imagine how difficult that was to do. Holy cow.
Yeah. I mean, it looks basically ready. I mean, I think that was kind of the point. Is that he's finally got it to a point where he can show it. 10,000 views as of 19 hours ago.
Wow. That is really an accomplishment. Holy cow. I mean, the Lisa is a complicated machine. Like that's not like building an Apple II into an FPGA. This is a serious piece of work. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I wonder if if you can plug a Twiggy drive into it, if you could ever find one.
I think so. I think he said that you could.
Yeah.
You can also use a what do you call it? Floppy emu.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
He's got
Wow,
everything
that
set up. There's a what do you call it? Like a sort of interlace mode,
Okay.
jumper, so it can delete every other line to make it feel more realistic.
Yeah. That is really cool. Wow.
Yeah, and he's got. I think on this is now showing on the screen. We're seeing it run MacWorks, which is basically just like Mac software running on a Lisa hardware. We might remember. Like if you listen to super old episodes of the podcast, David Grealish talks about that a fair bit. That like his first Mac was a Lisa XL, because it was it would run Mac software, but the screen was bigger and the memory was better.
Well, and towards the end there, didn't they rename it the Mac XL and they just started shipping it to boot right into Mac OS?
Yeah,
They did.
so anyway, that's pretty cool.
It's interesting. I have a Lisa 2, and I purchased it about almost 20 years ago, and it was refurbished. The guy that refurbished it he left it up to me. He said, "Do you want a Mac XL or do you want a Lisa 2?" And he was going to swap the ROMs and a few other settings, and it would be one or the other. I took the Lisa 2, but yeah, that's interesting.
It's like it is sort of like Macs are easy to come by. What you want is the Lisa.
Yeah,
But
the Lisa is what's interesting. Yeah.
I really one thing that I do really like about this is that this is actually really tempting, because it's so the Lisa itself is so slow and still prone to not work. So like I've probably told this story about my Lisa 2 before, but I got it from Vintage Micros, and I periodically, at least at that time, Vintage Micros was he'd sort of have like inventory sell-offs or whatever. This is John Woodall, and so his ad said something like Lisa 2 that doesn't work. He said, you can buy someone else's Lisa 2 for twice as much, and it will eventually not work, or you can skip that step and just go right to the not working. But so he shipped
That's a
it.
very good point.
Yeah, but he shipped it to me, and like it actually did kind of work, kind of. I mean, like it worked much better than I thought it was gonna, and it turned out that there was a funny thing in it where the chip, there's a COPS chip, which is sort of controls the keyboard and some other stuff, and what was wrong? Oh yeah, it had a clock chip in the socket for some reason. Like it was like the totally wrong chip. I don't know how that happened, but when I replaced that and did a couple of other things, I did actually get it working. So I was able to. I've booted my Lisa 2 off of I think an X profile, and I think also off of Floppy Emu. And then I think the power supply died. I don't know. It doesn't. I haven't seen it haven't been able to turn it on for a couple of years, and I haven't gotten back to that. And the power supply is really kind of dumb because it's not just a power supply; it's also like the video controls.
Oh.
So it's it's a little complex. But anyway, this is tempting as all.
Yeah, well, and that's why, right? Because Lisas are known to be fragile. And they're not that easy to get. I mean, the twos are somewhat easy to get. The ones are unobtainium, but the twos even are getting hard to get, and they're very fragile. So if you want to play with real Lisa hardware, this is a no-brainer to me. This is really cool.
Yeah. So it's fully open source. Will be on GitHub soon, and somewhere in the comments there was, where's the comments? I don't know where the comments went, but at any rate, there's a little frequently asked questions section in the comments, and he wasn't originally planning on selling them, but he's gotten a lot of demand, and I'm actually pretty surprised at this. This must have been posted somewhere high profile, because it's a lot of views for not very long that this has been available. So
I can see the 1/4-inch keyboard jack there, the headphone style keyboard jack right in the middle.
Oh, is that what that
right
is?
there.
I was wondering what that is
On the video, right? He just touched it. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was like it looks like a mono, or it looks like a 1/4-inch, big style headphone jack from the 80s or whatever.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I have, I don't know what, like something like 4 or 5 Lisa keyboards, and then like one Lisa. I need to. This is something that needs to change.
Just in case. Just in case. Yeah.
One of our viewers is asking the question I also have, which is, does anyone know what that one big dip chip is in the middle? Like, it's an FPGA design, but then there's this one vintage chip in the middle.
Yeah, AMD. It looks like an AMD branded chip.
Yeah. So like, why is that necessary? Is there something that the FPGA can't do that has to? Because I'm wondering, if he's going to sell these, do you have to go and get whatever that chip is?
You can almost read what's on it. Maybe
one could almost read what it, and just say 1982.
Upside down.
So
yeah.
I mean,
it's a vintage chip. That's concerning. Like, if this design requires some vintage chip that's hard to get.
Is it 8530? I can't quite make it out.
Is it a ROM, or is the?
It says 1982 on the chip itself. Yeah. Copyright 1982 AMD.
I mean, it would say Apple on it if it was a ROM chip.
Right.
So
this kind of looks like he's pointing at it, and it's possible that he's saying something about it.
I've
got it muted.
Yeah. Can you turn on the captions? This is great radio. We're watching a YouTube watching a YouTube video on a podcast.
Interesting. Yeah, it's possible that. Yeah. Well.
Anyway, that might be a hiccup to producing this thing if there's some chip that it depends on that is difficult to get.
Yeah, but at any rate, he it does sound like he's thinking about producing them for you. But even if he doesn't, the files and everything would be available, so you could, have it made yourself. So
that's cool.
Xilinx Arctic 700T.
That is very impressive. Hats off. That is a lot of work to develop something like that. He must have been working on that for years, in secret.
Although he says for the past 8 months.
Oh wow! So okay.
Really?
Maybe he's otherwise unemployed.
Yeah, this is like like if he does this for his day job, maybe he's just really good at it, and so he can knock stuff out quickly. Like if he's an FPGA developer in his day job, maybe.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
Okay. Anyway, yes. So I was impressed by that. Now let's see. Quinn, do you have anything that you wanted to?
I do not have a news item this time around, since it looked like we had enough of them there.
Okay. Blake, you had another one listed. I have another couple listed. So you can go with yours.
Yes, let me just zooming all in like crazy, trying to figure out what that chip was. Let me get myself back amongst the land of the living here. Pardon. Let's see.
One of the commenters says it looks like a PIA or serial controller, which is a good guess, although I don't know why that wouldn't be on the FPGA, because those aren't difficult to emulate.
Yeah.
Curious.
Someone else had suggested that maybe it's an original ROM, although I think the ROMs came in more chips than that.
Yeah, and the ROMs would say Apple on them. Like they would say, copyright, we will sue you 8,000 times, Apple, 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 all over them.
Yeah. Right.
Just bear with me for a moment. I apologize.
Sure. Actually, maybe I can. I'll switch over to one of the ones I was going to talk about since I had a couple.
Okay.
Basically, I did a lot of just looking around just today. So one of the things that showed up in a Blue Sky post was it's an account called ZX Vintage, which I think is it's listed as a robot, so I don't know exactly what it's posting, but it mentioned there's an article called "Test Driving the Sam Coupe" in Ace magazine, which I did locate here. So Ace is Advanced Computer Entertainment magazine. It is published in the UK.
Yeah, I was going to say, sounds British.
Yeah. But anyway, so if you wanted to hear about the Sam Coupe, this is, oops, okay, let's see. I'm trying to make it bigger and I've done it the wrong way.
So the Blue Sky account is a bot, I assume, because this is AI generated because the Sam Coupe does not exist. So that's probably
surely that is
yeah.
correct.
I think that's what's happened here. Yeah.
Could be.
Despite a continuing move towards 16 and 32-bit technology, Miles Gordon Technology has developed a new 8-bit micro.
That's a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, exactly. The Coupe is certainly not the most attractive machine around. It says.
That's a front-handed compliment.
Yeah,
indeed.
But the industry reacts. Yeah.
This machine is fictional. That's what they're reacting.
Yeah. I mean, I think basically somewhere in here it is sort of talking about the fact that it's a good 8-bit machine. There's going to be a question about whether there's software for it. So right now you kind of just have to run Spectrum software on it.
Yeah.
So
it is neat to see it in context, though, because one of the things I always wonder about these obscure machines is why didn't they succeed? Why are they obscure? And it sounds like in this case, it's because it came out at the beginning of the 16-bit era and it's an 8-bit machine. So everybody was like, why would I buy this?
Yeah.
But that so it may have been a good machine. I think by all accounts it is a good machine, but it just came out too late, maybe.
Yeah. The magazine itself is I think asking a survey question. Can a new 8-bit machine like the Sam Coupe really provide the advanced computer entertainment that the end user demands? Maybe deciding whether they want to actually cover this anymore.
Wow, it's like a 1980s comment section there.
Yeah.
Everyone dial this phone number and spew your random opinions into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I subscribe to, there's a European games magazine I've mentioned a number of times on the show, Retro Gamer, which I guess I've subscribed to for 15 years or so now. And I learned so much about, the very, very precise minutia of the, home computing scene in Europe, reading these things over the years. And Sam Coupe comes up as a little featured system more frequently than you might imagine.
Yeah.
There were so many people that were ready for that to go, and it didn't quite happen. And I mean, there is some coverage and love for that system over there. I think as Quinn says, maybe that was one of the, going to be one of the last big 8-bits, but it, wasn't. It just was a little too late, I guess.
I'm starting to feel like it's the 2GS of the Spectrum world. It came out too late, but has a weird devoted little cult of fans. But it was a total commercial failure, but to this day has this little group of devoted fans because it was what they wanted at the time. I don't know, because it does seem to have a fan base. There's emulators and there's that one guy that's got that incredibly extensive blog about it.
It is not an attractive machine. I will agree. It looks
Yes.
like a ridiculous little automobile type car.
Yeah, it's a weird
computer. It
looking
has-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it feels very much like an AI generated. Show me a home computer.
It does.
From the
Yeah.
1980s.
It looks AI. It looks like AI slop.
It may have debuted in Hungary, Japan, or Britain. You choose, or combine, please. Yeah, it's something like that. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Put the
Yeah,
keyboard in the back.
Yeah, generate a
put everything
Brazilian
else up
clone
front.
of the ZX Spectrum. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was timely. Okay, are you ready?
Yes, I am. I am all together now. So I'm just mentioning just a little game news that I saw. I am, as probably are a number of retro computing fans, having many pleasant memories of Defender of the Crown. For me, it was originally on the Amiga, and then the Apple IIgs has a very good version. It's Atari ST, etc. It's old sort of strategy, kind of a risk type game, but it has been remade. I think about on the PS2. I think there was a remake of the game that was rather different from the original. It didn't really feel like Defender of the Crown, but it had similar theme, music, and some of the characters were the same. I mean, it's of course based on like Ivanhoe, Robin Hood, that kind of thing. So, but it really wasn't a big outing. I think that PS2 version. Well, apparently they are fully remastering the game in basically its original form with a lot of visual enhancements, and I see some of the screens are a bit different than they looked on the on the original platform. It's going to be released for the PS5, and it looks like PC. And there's a link to the GOG, the Good Old Games game store, has a placeholder page for it. So if you're into that, it looks like it might be a kind of a cool thing to check out and walk back down memory lane. It has a mode that makes it sort of a pixel perfect rendition based on presumably the graphics back in the day, but it also now has high resolution modern graphics, animations, video, sharing. So it's just a heads up on that, because some of us spend a lot of time with it. And I more than actually the game itself, I remember it as a kind of a tour de force demonstration of what the Amiga could do with audio and video back when it came out, and when the game came out in 1986 for it. And so that's basically it. Indie Retro News, the game website, is where I encountered the news here. Incidentally, that site actually is where I find a lot of really good new indie titles coming out. A lot of C64 and A8, the Atari 8-bits, new games that are coming out for those. So I definitely hit that site weekly to stay up to date. And one of the little side facts it's interesting about Defender of the Crown that I will mention, since we were talking about it, is the Amiga version has the best graphics, but it lacks certain parts of the gameplay. The game evolved after the Amiga release, and I know the Atari ST has all of the features. It came shortly after, and I believe the Apple IIgs version does as well. There's a couple of scenarios, play views that aren't in the Amiga version, but I wish I could find the source. It was a discussion on some forum, and then someone linked to comments that were made by the developers, and they actually stated that, according to the people that put it together, the Atari ST version, despite it being rather lesser than the Amiga in audio, and it has limited 16 colors versus 32 for the visuals, and the Amiga version did use all the colors. It was quite impressive. The ST version they were calling the most complete of the versions that they released. But it makes me wonder because, like I said, I thought that the 2GS version was in feature parity with the ST version, but of course the ST is significantly faster than the 2GS, so it could be that that's part of the thing as well. But anyway, little side note on Defender of the Crown. But yeah, that's it. So if you like Defender of the Crown, keep an eye. It looks like it's coming next year at some point. So
Cool. I'm
that's all I got.
unfamiliar with the game, but or at least I was.
I had the GS versions of the CinemaWare games. They were all, like Blake said, they were things you booted up to look at and be like, "Ooh, look how pretty." But I mean, none of them were good games. Like the Three Stooges one was probably the best. The pie throwing mini game was sort of fun, but like, yeah, and Rocketeer had a couple of decent moments, but yeah, none of them were very good games. But they sure did look and sound great. So you booted them to impress your friends. That's what those games were for.
Was my main experience with it. I did stick with Defender of the Crown a bit, and I think there was another one, Wings, which was a flying game. It was
Wings is
smooth.
Yeah, Wings is well regarded. That was the only kind of actual game that CinemaWare ever made. The rest of them were just sort of tech demos.
It's a strange thing if you look at the history of CinemaWare and like some of the, there were several times where there was almost a reboot of some of these things and then it didn't happen. And then, an external group was contracted to port like Defender of the Crown to the Game Boy. And it all, when you hear the stories of these, there was a whole lot of really strange, it feels like the interacting with CinemaWare and just the whole business situation there had a weird vibe to it. It just, I get that perception every time I come into any kind of story about the operations under the hood. But yeah, well, I'll probably pick this up.
It's a rough target for a modern redo because they weren't good games. Like the whole shtick with them was that they were impressive tech demos, but you've lost that now because now everything looks equally perfect. So there's no such thing as I bought this game just because it looks good. So the game has to be good. And how do you take an old game like that wasn't good? So you're going to have to change the gameplay a lot, basically, to make it good, to be worth playing a modern remake. And I don't know how doable that is with some of the styles of games that they made, because all of them were just a string of mini games put together with cutscenes. And most of the mini games were just not very good. So I don't know what you do with that as a porter or as a remaker.
Mm-hmm. And of course, anyone who was familiar with the original one may not be happy with the fact that it's now all different. But maybe nobody liked them in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of the originals because you have magical nostalgia feelings about booting a Defender of the Crown and seeing that splash screen and how good it looked and how amazing it sounded, you're not going to get that feeling from booting a PS5 version of it because it looks just like every other PS5 game. And there's no magic anymore in that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think anyone has fond memories of playing CinemaWare games. Everybody has fond memories of booting them. So you're not going to get that magic back, of being on the cutting edge of graphics and sound.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I believe it was Brian Bagnall who wrote the book. Sorry, I was trying to verify this, and I'm getting repeatedly tested as to whether or not I'm a robot as we're on here. And I have failed the test several times, so I do not get to have the information. But I believe Bagnall wrote On the Edge, The Spectacular Rise and Fall of Commodore. I think he's done a number of versions of it. But there was a quote in there talking about how CinemaWare games really wowed you. And Defender of the Crown in particular, there's a passage from the book where it's discussed users seeing Defender of the Crown for the first time. And I'll just read that briefly, if I could. It's R.J. McCall, one of the Amiga creators, saw artist Jim Sachs, who created the art, and he was the guy behind Defender of the Crown, pushed the Amiga to its full potential. Quote, Jim Sachs, "What a god he is," marvels McCall. Or Michael, actually, sorry, I'm getting my pronunciation. Jim Sachs is amazing. These days, everyone sees graphics like that because there are a lot of really good computer graphic artists now. But back then, 20 years ago, it was astonishing to have someone that good. The final game was a landmark in video game production values. As game designer Bob Lindstrom recalls, the shock of seeing Defender of the Ground for the first time was one of those experiences that changed the gaming stakes for all of us. And for me, that's completely accurate. When I saw it, it just blew me away. And then it concludes, compared to other video games at the time, Defender of the Crown established a new level of quality, visual quality. I don't know if I would say right.
Visual quality for sure. Yeah.
IBM had King Quest by Sierra Online, a decent but primitive adventure game. The Macintosh had games like Checkers or Backgammon, or board games like Risk. Defender of the Crown
Savage.
had, the Mac people. Right. They were playing games where you click on bugs and they die, like just looking at checkerboard patterns.
True.
Mac people were very easily amused. And continuing, yes,
that is tough but fair.
These are my words. But Defender of the Crown had richer graphics than any computer console or even arcade game could boast in 1986. It was a revelation. And that's what it felt like seeing it and listening to it and actually starting to play it. I was in a local computer store when at that time I did not have an Amiga, but I was looking at it and it was amazing. But yeah, I think that maybe not everything in that quote is perfectly accurate, but it was an experience, and it stuck out when I read that book 15 years ago.
And the thing he said about artists is certainly true. I mean, this is up until then still. Video game art was largely just done by the programmers or someone else who happened to be at the company, and digital video game artist, became a job that people got good at. And I think that Cinemaware Games can certainly take most of the credit probably for establishing the 16-bit art style. When you look at the screenshots of the jousting game, for example, the way that they've outlined everything in black so that the colors pop off the backgrounds and so on, like that became the look of 16-bit art. And whoever the artists were on that, I think probably get credit for basically inventing that. They figured out how to make stuff look good with, 256 colors and 640 by 480 or 320 by 200. Like there's certain things you have to do, which colors you can put near each other. Right. And like I said, outlining things in black is really important and so on to make it look clean and a little bit cartoony, have some style to it. And those games definitely set that bar from then on.
Yeah, I think, and again, as far as you're talking about the outlining in black, that kind of thing, and here we run into another situation where people unfortunately face modern versus old hardware. When you look at these on an LCD screen versus a CRT, right. I mean, these were written for there was a CRT sitting right there, and you're looking at how colors bled together and blended, and it really was not meant to be viewed pixel perfectly. And I think I was just going to mention, I was looking at the year here, trying to verify, but another, this was all pixel art, but back then, people are doing, fat bits zooming and, doing these very detailed work on the raster. There was another series of games, Metal Slug, for the Neo Geo, and I just verified it was 1996 actually. But I've never seen a game that had better pixel art than that. And I remember when I don't know if you guys are familiar with Metal Slug. I'm sure some people. Yeah.
And the Neo Geo games in general had really
mind blowing. Mind blowing the pixel art there, and it also felt like this almost seems hard to conceive that someone's drawn this so well in this limited resolution. That really had an impact on me as well. But yeah, I just that came to mind when we're talking about these revolutionary experiences of seeing for the first time. But
and anyway, I guess it all fed into itself, because the Neo Geo art style was very much an evolution of arcade art styles at the time. The 16-bit arcade machines also had similar styles of how they drew their sprites in a way that would pop off the backgrounds and look good on CRTs. And Neo Geo kind of evolved that. So I'm sure that the Amiga artists were looking at Neo Geo and vice versa and so on.
Yeah, I think the Neo Geo kind of sort of was arcade hardware almost. I mean, I know it was very expensive hardware to buy, but I think for some of the SNK's arcade machines were basically running, the same code. I think I don't know if that's the case with Metal Slug, but
so it was literally the same hardware. Yeah, that was Neo Geo's whole thing, was that the Neo Geo platform, arcade platform, was the same machine that was the home game. So that's why the cartridges were huge.
Hence the price as well, I guess.
Yeah, because it was literally
expensive.
an entire daughter board out of the arcade
Mm-hmm.
machine that you plugged into the Neo Geo. And the games were huge. They were like 300 megabits when like a Nintendo game was 12 or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, they were known to be literally the exact same experience as the arcade because it was the same hardware running the same software in your house. But yeah, it was obscenely expensive for that reason.
All right. I think we can move on now to a word from our sponsor. Okay. And we're back. Okay, so now is the time for the host's retrocomputing gift idea. And that will be, let's see, this little thing. This little thing or things like it. So what it is, what we're looking at is, it's a Etsy store, Questwise Ventures, and they sell little miniatures. So what I have on the screen is a miniature pet, but they have actually a bunch of these little miniature things. And I don't know if you can see it. If you go on the site and look at it, there's a little video of it, but the pet actually has a lit screen with a little blinking cursor on it. So it's got like an actual active screen in there. And you can buy this for $38.80 US. They've got pictures of it next to a quarter showing that it is, its footprint is like 2.5 quarters big.
Very small.
Yeah. And you can optionally get a little table to put it on, which I think is pretty excellent. So, it looks like a little table. These are, it's a very cool little sort of like desk art or shelf art piece. I don't know, Blake, I think you were the one who came across this, right? I don't know where you came across it, but they're all pretty great. So there's also a little like, sort of, you can get a oscilloscope, you can get a sort of like a little PC tower.
And one of them, what drew me to it actually was there's one, it's just a beige CRT, but on the screen is the Matrix Rain and the text, the Matrix has you, Neo, or something. Over the past couple of years, I've become a big kind of a lunatic buying all sorts of illuminated little shelf toys. So this room is just full of, I keep picking up things, and I thought that would be a cool one. And then it was then that I noticed and shared with you guys that, it looks like there's some retro, some true character, retro with character like the pet. So that's pretty cool. Just looks like a little USB-C plug-in to keep it powered up. They look fun, and they're not that expensive. I mean, the little CRT that's with the Matrix Rain is only $19.80. It could be worse, but I like that the little
really
PC
cute.
tower has a 33 megahertz illuminated, like the little clock speed lights up 33 on the front. So that's cool.
They are impressively small. Like, it's not easy to make something 3D printed that small.
And I think they made, I believe, elsewhere on the same Etsy page, I think they sell the bare little display circuit board, the display unit itself alone. And I think it was labeled as the smallest OLED display. It's OLED, smallest OLED available or something like that. Looks like for about $16 you can get that individual display. But OLED, of course, nice and bright on the shelf there. So I'll let you know how the Matrix looks when it gets here. But the pet, that's really cool. That's a great retro piece, it seems. I don't have any personal experience with the pet, and so I couldn't. It didn't jump at me as much.
Yeah, I think that one. I think the pet is the only one, the sort of only 80s era.
I mean, the PC tower. Well, that's 90s, I guess.
Yeah.
It's nice for the pet to get a little love, though. I like the oscilloscope. That's an original one. You don't usually see that kind of thing in these miniatures.
It's got the little wave, I think.
Yeah, the oscilloscope. It looks really good. It's got the little waveform animating on it. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, I actually saw this, and I saw some other Matrix Rain little display jewelry or something like that, and that sent me down the rabbit hole, and that's how I found this. And then I noticed, as looking for similar retro, like little desk toys, the rabbit hole was too dangerous and vast. I had to close the browser because I was like, no, I don't need to be, $200 later. Here comes 7 bizarre creations, each with their own USB-C power cord. So.
Yeah, these are so small that you could like put them on a chain and wear it like jewelry. These are like, they're the size of a quarter. Some of these, they're very small.
I mean, I think you'd have to actually put some effort into cable management to keep that cable from raising it up off the table.
For sure, yeah.
From the rigidity of tape the cable to the table or something.
Yeah,
like that.
100%. Yeah. I mean, we've seen miniatures before of computers, but these are the smallest ones I think we've seen by far. That's really neat. I mean, those are almost dollhouse size. Like you could almost put that pet in a dollhouse and it would look okay.
Oh Lord, don't get me started thinking about that. We can make a retro computing collection house. That's a dollhouse.
Yeah.
Got the real one over here, and now here's a smaller one. I wish you hadn't said that.
Oh, don't fall down the rabbit hole of dollhouse stuff, because it is fascinating and amazing. They make like working plumbing, like you get sinks that work and stoves that work, and it's a fascinating world. All
right, I'm gonna stay away from that.
Yeah, it's hard to stay. It's an expensive rabbit hole.
Wow. And you can put a little like, train track next to it, and have a little train go by.
Yeah,
train.
Switching at tunnels and Jeremy in the comments says, at this age, I think I want the huge version of the retro machine so I can clearly see it.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So you could have all three, actual size, huge, and
miniature.
Yeah, the middle-aged version.
Yeah. Somewhere I think I had posted, I don't know where, I can't find it again, and it's probably on a site I don't have an account on anymore, but holding up an 8-inch disc and saying, if you want to feel small, you can, because it is very funny to hold up, I grew up on 5 1/4-inch discs, and so this just seems absurdly big, and I was just thinking, all these things these little toys make you feel like a giant.
Yeah.
It's like the taking the Jonathan Swift approach to retro computing. You can have it all ways, large and small. Interesting. Yeah, that's it. I would say that is a very good
VCF.
Yeah, that would actually help, apparently.
Yeah,
based on the crowd reports. But I'm very happy about this gift idea.
Yeah. Okay, so when you're done buying your miniature oscilloscopes and pets and matrix displays, you can turn your attention to eBay, and Blake has the first of these that we'll look at.
Yes, I think I only have one eBay item today for myself, but yes, as I was looking around eBay recently, I found a CPU-looking IC that I did not recognize. It is the C Coupe. It looked from a distance like a 486 CPU or something like that. The title is Historic 1992. Turns out it was actually 1991, so this plays into our
topical.
C Coupe CL950, world's first MPEG decoder on a chip. And so yeah, there's the chip. You can buy it. There's a quarter next to it, so you can see how large it is compared to that miniature Commodore PET. And happily, they didn't use a doubloon from a strange land and time, as often is the case for scale.
Or a Canadian quarter, throw you off by 10%.
There's a coin that no one knows the size of next to it. But
somewhere I have like a novelty quarter I got, when I was a kid visiting DC, I think, or something, which is, it's like 5 inches across or something like that.
So put it in all your photos just to mess with everyone.
Yeah, I have a miniature, one of those, a miniature Tabasco bottle and a miniature bottle of Scotch, and that I picked up on a European trip. And so yes, I've used those for scale in some instances. Yes, at any rate, so I looked into it a bit, wondering if it actually was this notable thing. And apparently, it is, looking at the Wikipedia page, the world's first single-chip MPEG-1 video decoder capable of decoding full screen 720 by 480 real-time 30 frames per second image, which for the first unit seems pretty good. I mean, maybe that was maybe that's the standard MPEG resolution, MPEG-1 resolution in the context of, professional video. I'm not sure. I was impressed by the resolution. I thought it would be lower. First C Coupe chip driven by programmable microcode, and this one was used primarily as a demonstration. It never entered full production. So the unit that they're offering is actually a sort of a internal demo unit, which I guess would make it a bit more of an interesting find. That was released in 91 and 92. Immediately, shortly after it is in fact the CL450, which is the version of this that was released. So that's a commercial version. It was used for early video CD development in Japan, used in conjunction with Philips for its CDI platform.
Okay. I was
I
trying to
remember
figure out
video
what the
CD.
use case. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the use case for this is, and that's right. Video CD players is what
CDI. That would explain that makes
Yeah.
sense. That resolution sounds right for basically watching a movie or a television show that's been encoded.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like PCs never had these, so where was this chip used? But that makes sense.
Yeah. I was tempted. I'm still kind of tempted by this, given that it's a sort of a non-released unit. I don't know. We'll see. It might still be there, but it's $32. Actually, there's 4 available. I didn't notice, and there were 21. There were 25. So I guess they're selling off a lot of them. But anyway, it seemed like sort of a nifty little find, and I might buy one of these things in the next hour or so. We'll see. But it's sold from where is it coming from? Huntsville, Alabama, home of Space Camp, and $6 for ground shipping to me. So anyway, I thought that was a nifty little piece, and happily it fits, despite the date in the title, which is inaccurate. It does fit into our 1991 episode here. So anyway, I believe that's the only eBay item I have for the show today.
That's an extra curious artifact because it's MPEG-1, which didn't last very long. Like I think that was only VCD that used that. Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, DVD was MPEG-2, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
MPEG-1, that was that is a very short time span standard. So
well, I know in Sony, I believe it was in I don't recall what country, in a Far Eastern country. There was a variant of the original PlayStation. I think it was white in plastic color, and I believe it had hardware MPEG-1 decoding on it. I think so. I think that was because bootleg. I think videos, and many of them bootleg, were popular in whatever country. I just don't recall which country it was. And so they actually spun that up for that market. And so it had a double appeal. I bet it used MPEG-1 because this was not a DVD quality thing. It was a CD that had MPEG. So I bet it was,
Yeah, VCD was a very popular format in like some Southeast Asian countries and stuff. Yeah, it was it was the pirate platform of choice for a long time. But
I feel like it might have been Thailand. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All those countries, India, all the street markets and stuff still sold VCD bootlegs of everything. There was certain countries that didn't have a home video market at all. So all of your home movie consumption was bootleg VCDs bought from street markets, like places like India. It was all like American movies that were imported and pirated onto VCD. And so, yeah, I could believe that was a market that they catered to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing a quick screen share. I just did a quick search, and on Reddit I found a picture of became a proud owner of the immaculate-looking white PlayStation known as the Philips CD PS1. And I think that's the one that played VCDs as well. And it, indeed. Oh, and it says right on the image, it says video CD at the top.
Yeah, there you go. That's cool.
Yeah, so there's that's a little. I'm sure that's a collectible.
Yeah, you didn't get a
Yeah.
lot of storage on one VCD, like much less than a DVD. So you often couldn't put a whole movie on one. So it would come on like 3 of them, or it would be horribly chopped up. Like half the movie would be cut out of the middle of it so they could fit it on one disc, or it would be super low res. Like it was a pretty terrible platform. But for a lot of folks, it was what they had. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I have a little bit of experience with VCD because back in the ancient days of MTV, or I don't even actually I think it was replayed on MTV, but it was originally ABC or something. There was a show called My So-Called Life, and I really I liked it. It was good. I was kind of into it, and then they canceled it, and that was a very sad moment. But and they mounted. It was actually pretty interesting because they mounted a big uncancel My So-Called Life campaign and bought an ad and whatever. But among the things that I have is like a complete run of these episodes in VCD format because somebody had them. Somebody. I mean, it was basically just taped off TV and put on VCDs, and they look terrible. But yeah, no, I mean it's really not a good format.
I guess it's all relative too. Like we forget how bad VHS was. Like VHS is unwatchable today if you've ever gone back and actually tried to watch one. And we all thought it was fine at the time. So compared to that, I mean, I don't think it was substantially worse than VHS because DVD wasn't around yet. So we didn't have that to compare it to.
If it wasn't sourced from a VHS tape, which I'm sure a great many were, then I think it definitely could be a higher quality image than VHS.
Could be, yeah. I think they were by and large all ripped from VHS tapes, but yeah. So the quality wasn't a big problem because the source material was so terrible anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I guess SVHS, where S-video came into common usage, and then it got better from there. But yeah, that's and I guess you could just. I mean, I've never downloaded. I mean, I suppose. I mean, you can rip all types of CDs. I assume that there's nothing preventing a ripping and transferring of a VCD, right? Or is that something you can just burn?
Yeah,
is there
your CD-ROM has
special,
to support.
Right?
The CD-ROM has to support it. I don't remember what the format is, but it's different. Like it's not Redbook. It's like a slightly different format. But I think a lot of CD-ROMs did support it. But in North America, we didn't use that feature much because we didn't have them really. But yeah.
My recollection was that the VCD format, there's something about it. It's like it's lacking some kind of error correction or something. So it's it's very easy to get a bad burn. It's a little bit hard to get a good copy, just because it can't recover from any error. But maybe because they were trying to cram as much as they could in there. But,
yeah, it's a very primitive format for sure. I mean, it was literally video crammed onto an audio CD essentially, which just isn't big enough for any kind of video. So yeah, it's a very primitive format.
I've never come across one ever.
No. I wonder if I have. Well, doesn't matter. Anyway, okay. All right. Let's see. I guess I have a few things. I probably want to do them all. Here is one thing. So it is the TRS-80 Users Encyclopedia Color Computer and MC10 Philips Wright Rare. I don't know. Anyway, it's called the TRS-80 Users Encyclopedia. It's a big book published by the Book Company. And so I don't know anything in particular about this particular book, but it's kind of an interesting format. So it's basically a bunch of computer facts organized alphabetically. So and they're just of completely divergent grain sizes. It's nothing about they're not organized in anything but letter. So you can look up under J and you see ASCII 74, JNM disk controller, JMP the jump instruction.
Okay.
So it just it's really sort of an interesting kind of approach to information. And part of the reason that this came up, caught my attention is that I have the Apple version of this. also by the book company, but this is the Apple Users Encyclopedia. I recently scanned it. It's giant. I mean, it's 487 pages long, and it's it's full of exactly that kind of stuff, except in an area I recognize. So, I just opened up to a random page, and it's got like Fortran and Forth and it, individual program names like Formulex.
Wow. So it's literally just a giant glossary of every word, even vaguely related to this computer.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a weird thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so FP, the DOS command for, for resetting your AppleSoft program, followed by
right.
FPGA.
And right above that is Fourier transform.
Yep.
It's just like someone's just writing down every computer technical jargon word they see and then alphabetizing them. Wow, that is a weird thing.
French hangman, comma, the.
What is the use case for this? I guess if you're brand new to computers and you're feeling overwhelmed by all the jargon, I guess you could look up every single word that you don't know, but wow, this is a strange thing.
Yeah. But as I was kind of going through it, because I had to sort of look at every page because I scanned it, it's surprisingly interesting. Like I could sort of see, like if you wanted to look up something, if having this around and just assuming that information didn't change super rapidly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess in a sense, that's what encyclopedias were, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like an actual normal encyclopedia is just a jumble of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I could see like if you just gotten a computer and you're trying to read like an article in Compute magazine and like every fifth word is some jargon thing that you don't understand. So then you could like look it all up as you go and kind of learn the language of computing. But still, wow, weird.
Yeah. Anyway, so I had seen the Apple one. I hadn't seen the TRS-80 equivalent, but I thought it was sort of interesting that it existed. It's a little smaller. I think.
That is a little unusual.
Looks like a lot of
Here's the MC10.
Yeah, a lot of work to put that together. Like someone had to write all those thousands and thousands of little blurbs. So I guess good on them for doing that amount of work. I mean, I imagine like 80% of it is copy pasted through all the different versions because they're all going to have. But still, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think it does say way up at the front somewhere that like a bunch of these things are in common across their editions.
Yeah.
So I forget where that was, but there's some sort of disclaimer that says, some of the general microcomputer definitions in this book here have been adapted or reprinted by permission from something else.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that wasn't exactly what I was. Somewhere it says this. But,
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. This is sort of a nothing, but here's a Cray Research Inc. mug.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is a cool looking mug.
I would
Kind
buy
of a
that.
burgundy color.
Yeah.
With gold. Burgundy with a reflecting gold leaf looking text.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. On one side it says Cray, on the other side it says Recycling Award.
Some corporate tchotchke from the day. I've got a Silicon Graphics coffee mug, and it's one of my favorite things. Everybody always asks about it.
And it's got the Next Step garbage can icon on the back.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't mention this, but what was being asked for this is about $50. So I sometimes I don't even remember to say the price because for the most part these things are all gone by the time that it's relevant. But the TRS-80 encyclopedia was $130, or you could how about that? Yeah. So as I was sort of going through this, to look for stuff, I added things to watch lists, and almost immediately I got like a bunch of offers. So in fact I got when I favorited it, I got an offer of $117. So worth trying if you're interested in it. Favorite it first, sit for 6 hours, and just see if it becomes cheaper. Let's see. Okay. The next thing I have is a cool plus time system. would system. It's basically like a fan for your Apple II. It's comparable to the system savers that were pretty well known for the Apple II systems. They sort of hook on the side. They have a couple of power outlets in the back. And I guess what the Cool plus Time thing has a like a little, whatever it is, 7-segment, however many segments that is, display on the front that can show the time, and then a couple of switches that let you independently control the power in the back. Have you seen this before?
I've never seen this specific one. No, it's neat. The display is vacuum fluorescent, which those are the coolest retro displays. They look really neat.
I was going to say I don't know if I saw this one or it was definitely a system saver type thing that had a clock, because I remember as a very young kid, I mean, it had to have been like I wonder when this came out, 1980 or something like that. I was my father was a NASA guy, and we went to dinner at one of the guys that worked for him, their house, and he had an Apple II, and they set me in there to play with that while they had dinner and did the adult talk, and it had I was asked him, what's this box on the side, and he pointed out it was a fan, and it did have the time, and I remember thinking, my TI doesn't have a clock in it, so I was thinking this was feeding the computer itself. But interesting, yes, I saw. I don't remember seeing another one other than this, looking through magazines or something, but it might have been this very one. Huh.
Yeah, from what I understand, this does not communicate the time to the computer.
Right.
I mean, there's no route for that
just
to happen.
Clock.
It just shows you the time. Yeah. And actually, come to think of it, I knew that story of yours because the only thing I could find on this was like a Facebook post from a while ago where someone had posted a picture of this and said, I found this cool thing, and you mentioned that you had seen it, when you went to the NASA friend's house.
Are you serious?
Or whatever. Yeah.
Are you serious?
I am indeed serious. Because I was crazy. The thing that actually caught my attention about this is that I feel like I've seen this as a magazine ad over and over and over again. I couldn't locate one before we started recording, but they advertised, I think, fairly regularly in Apple magazines. So that's my only experience with this, is like seeing the photo in the magazine ads. So I thought it was pretty interesting to actually see it show up.
Yeah, I've never seen one. I wish there was a picture of it powered up, because those vacuum fluorescent displays are so cool. Like they look like what we thought the future was going to look like. Like it looks like something out of Tron. Like they look like little glowing lasers or something. They're by far the coolest of the 7-segment display technologies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually gas in there. I mean, gas in the segments.
Yes, yeah, and it's a high voltage, with a like a noble gas inside a glass tube, and that causes the segments to glow. Yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't turn it on. I mean, you wouldn't need a computer for that. They've got the power cord right there.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's always something one might be suspicious of. But
because whenever they go out of their way to label it untested, I feel like these days that means it doesn't work, and they don't want to admit it.
But it didn't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one's $167.
Although that's down from a price of $190, which is everything's arbitrary.
So you get 12% off. If you buy now, you get 12% off.
Yep. Okay, let's see. What else did I want to mention? Is this interesting? I don't know if this is interesting. It's probably not interesting, but so what I've put up here is a vintage 1995 Apple Mac Cyber Arcade 2, long big box, joust, sealed, error. I think the error part was not intended to be part of the description. But what it is it's a box of 3 CD-ROMs. I think it includes Critical Path, Joust, and Spectre VR. Spectre VR was mentioned earlier.
There you go. Yeah, Spectre.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it comes in the most unshelvable box.
Yeah.
It's like this weird triangle. I don't know. I mean, it really does look like that. It's really dumb.
That's right. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, that's right. I have that box
weird
in my
angular
closet
box.
still. Yeah, and it's
Oh, nice.
impossible. It's impossible to put on the shelf. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
I see you
But
bought
anyway.
the game.
I did buy that game. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was pretty excited about it. I remember.
Yeah. So this in particular, it's has the CD-ROMs in it. It doesn't have the funny box. And it's basically just, and Apple had a series of these. There's, I don't know, I think I have something like 5 or 6 of them or something. They're sort of similar to this. They're just like a collection of things you can do on your Mac. So I forget I had it somewhere here, but anyway, there's like educational games on one of them. There's arcade games on another, and whatever. This particular person doesn't seem to quite understand what it is they have, so
Oh, jeez.
they've listed it at $10,000. But
Wow.
you can make an offer. I assume
Okay.
that
Whoa.
was the intent.
$10,000. Why does someone think it's worth $10,000? Good grief.
I can only believe that they are actually just fishing for an offer, but
I guess that's that's weird.
it is still sealed, but so is mine.
Yeah.
At some point, I will open it just to see what's in it. But yeah. Anyway,
Hey, you might open it and find it's full of gold.
that's right. Yeah.
Right for, yeah.
Anyway, okay. I think that's probably enough. I don't think I need to cover the other ones unless those looking at the show notes wanted to talk about either of the other two things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're good.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So with that, I think we can move to our closing discussions. Blake, what closing notes have you?
Closing notes. Well, I am. I am still wanting to break time away and get back to writing. There's a number of blog posts. My blog has been dormant for over a year now. Very sadly, just things got busy, and there's a number of things I need to write about. I need to write about having gone almost a year ago to Annette Hello before I go a second time here shortly. So it would be embarrassing to write them both back to back. Response, like feedback to the show. But yeah, so I'm trying to this summer. I'll definitely do that. But right now we're preparing things. I'm moving. I have let some of my computer items drift into my daughter's space across the basement hall. She's returning from school this week, and so I need to vamoose I have sense enough to get all of my items out of there before she appears. And yes, and she's finishing. She actually has her 2 Sunday exams today, which is not a great way to spend your birthday, which is also today. But yes, so we're prepping for her return, and that'll be a happy thing. And yeah, so things are going as they do. Yep, that's about all I got.
Cool. Let's see. Well, Quinn, do you have any closing notes?
I wish I could say I've done some retro things lately, but I have not, other than I'm listening to the newly resumed podcast from friend of the show, Charles Mangan, who many of us have been on the show. If anyone isn't familiar, he did a podcast with alphabet letter themed episodes called Chicken Missile, and he kind of got halfway through and then ran out of time for editing, so it kind of stalled there for a while, but it's back. So he's finished editing apparently and is now releasing the remainder of the episodes. So if you were subscribed to the Chicken Missile podcast, be sure and get back on there, if for no other reason than to see all of the puppets that Paul and I are now showing on screen, because for this show we all got puppets of our likenesses, and they are delightful. They are authentic knockoff Muppets of all of us. So yeah, all of your fans, your favorite people from KFest and other retro podcasts have all been on the show, and so it's nice to see it back and listen to the rest of them. I think Q through Z is what's getting posted now.
Yeah, exactly. So P was the episode that had all the puppets.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, P for puppets. So.
Yeah. But
cool.
Yeah, so I think it's up to. I think the new recent ones started with O and P, and I think Q looks like it's about to hit the feed. It's on the website if you wanted to listen in advance.
I mean, I assume it's about me, but I don't want to presume. So.
Yes, right.
I don't know what else to do with that letter. I mean, it seems obvious to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun podcast. It is really, it's sort of like chatting about some topic, and then there's always a game. So
yeah,
it's a continuation, in a sense, a spiritual continuation of the sort of mega podcasts from Kansas Fest days.
Yeah. Hence, that's where the name comes from. If anyone was perplexed by the name Chicken Missile, it's an inside joke from the Kansas Fest mega podcasts. So, yeah.
Those are nice, nice Muppet.
Yeah,
things.
they're amazing. The quality of them is excellent.
Yeah, it looks very high quality, actually.
Yeah.
Kind of shocking.
Yeah, they're really nice, and they're quite convincing. Like Carrington's cracks me up. You hit Carrington.
Oh, I'd like to see his.
Hilarious. Yeah. It's worth checking out the video stream of it so you can see everybody's puppet likenesses. Or I'll say Muppet because they look very much like they're like knockoff Muppets basically. So they have that same kind of felt and happy mouths like Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
There's a
yeah, there they are.
Wow.
I forgot about K's. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
So yeah, we'll have a link to that for sure. But yeah, where's Carrington's?
Oh,
there's Carrington's.
Yeah,
I feel like Carrington's looks the most like him. Even maybe it's just because he's bald, but
yeah, it's pretty excellent.
Yeah, and he's got the same smile. Carrington has a Muppet smile, so it really works.
All right, let's see. What did I want to say? I forget. I have been. Blake, you mentioned that Anid Hello is coming back again. I think it's possible that we mentioned that actually last time too. In our last episode, but yeah, it's happening in June, again in Baltimore at the System Source Museum. So I'm not as involved in setting that up, but I am planning to go. So for nothing else, to pick up all the Apple III stuff that I left there last year by accident. So
oh, is it still there? All that stuff? Are they holding it for you?
Kat is holding it for me.
Oh, good. That's good.
So yeah. Oh yeah. In fact, actually. This is, sort of tangentially related news, but Kansas Fest, we, often have talked about the Kansas Fest gathering, which is like a week-long sort of like Apple II nerd camp. But they have, one of the things that they do is that they have a kind of like a storehouse that they keep, they'll go do like rescues at schools or whatever, like, or people's collections, over the years it's kind of accumulated there, and then they give stuff away at what they call the garage giveaway. But like when Kansas Fest is not happening, it like lives in a storage space in Kansas. And like a month ago, several weeks ago, it got like all the storage spaces around it got hit by a tornado. So like, it was very lucky actually that that the stuff survived, but I mean, like, the door was blown open, and so so they've just moved that all to, I think, Springfield. So I mean, it's been salvaged and it's no longer in Kansas. So that's an interesting data point, or fact anyway. But also it's pretty amazing that it survived. I mean, like,
that is amazing. Wow.
So. Was there no significant damage to items within?
That's what, from what I understand. I mean, like, I'm not
okay.
I'm not really in the know on it, but that's from what I understand. It was most everything is in plastic bins and things like that.
Okay.
So,
wow.
But it was a close one.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I saw some pictures, and I didn't quite understand what I was seeing, or who owned this or what it was, and then later I was filled in, and I thought, oh wow, it looked like a lot had been damaged, but I guess I was seeing the surrounding units. You say they were destroyed? Yeah, it looked like a field of.
Yeah, and I think there was something. I wonder what this was that I wanted to talk about here. But well, so one of the things I've also been doing is just like continuing to scan stuff. So I did find eventually the very last apple orchard. So this is a magazine. It was a like a user group magazine. So essentially, what it would do is sort of collect together stuff published in little user group newsletters under the banner of the International Apple Corps. And so they published this magazine, Apple Orchard. It was one of the ones with Soft Talk and Nibble and stuff that I paid attention to back in those days. But everything just kind of folded around this August 1984 time. So Soft Talk disappeared, and I don't know exactly what it was, but suddenly no advertisers were paying for anything anymore. But so I did manage to get that, and I scanned it, and I think there was something in it that I was gonna highlight, and I don't remember what it was now. So oh well. Although it does feature a sort of like an editorial about how there's a shakeout coming, and Peelings 2 went away, and it's sort of marveling at the fact that Soft Talk's gone. And they say, well, Soft Talk's gone, Peelings is gone, and contrary to rumor, Apple Orchard yet lives. But this was their last issue.
Oh, jeez, that's sad.
Anyway,
How was that, a monthly or quarterly? Was this? Do you recall? Do you know? What
it was
the
pretty much
frequency
monthly.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, it looks like they skipped, unless they started in. Yeah, it looks like they pair up months a couple of times. So this is only number 7, and it's August, September. But anyway, yeah. This was another thing. I don't think I mentioned this before, but another of the books that I scanned that is sort of mildly interesting is Frank Herbert of Dune wrote a book in, I think it was like 1980, about like home computers and so
Wow.
if you want to read like the Dune take on how computers are not actually a threat and they'll only do what you tell them to do, then that's this.
The bytes must flow.
Yeah.
Lisan Al Gaib.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Yeah.
At least for the next minute and a half, anyway.
Anyway, yeah. So that's what I've been doing is largely like scanning, and at some point I'll actually start getting rid of things. But at least I'm prepared now. So
It was a while ago, but I know you were towards the end of last year, you were doing a transfer of your office at the school. Is that all sorted?
Oh yeah. So I do occupy more space than I need to eventually occupy, and my storage space is frighteningly. At least last I looked at it, it was a lot of towers of stuff. I'm hoping that those are still towers and not just jumbles on the floor now. But at any rate, yeah. No, it's. I did move, and it is kind of the whatever inspiration for my trying to process all these things so that I can stop having them.
Right.
But yeah, I guess last time we talked a little bit about Enter magazine, right? And I think, or maybe it was a couple times ago, Kay was saying that I was not the first person to try to scan and post Enter magazine, and whoever Children's Television Workshop or whoever's responsible for it gets it taken down all the time. So if it's still there. I think it's still there right now. But if it's still there and you want it, go download them now.
I should do that. Yeah, I remember you said that. I should go do that before they take it down.
Or I know a guy who still has all the scans.
Yeah. If you know anyone who might happen to have them, yeah.
Anyway, okay. I guess that is basically it. We've recorded for a long time. This happens, of course, when we only record once every other month or whatever.
Yep.
But so that is it for this show. You can find the show notes for this and all the RCR shows at rcrpodcast.com. You can find lo-fi episodes and more via Gopher at rcrpodcast.com. I hope that will someday become true again, so I will just keep saying it. Right now, I think it is offline and has been probably for 6 months, but hopefully we'll get it back online at some point. You can discuss the show in the forums at forum.vcfed.org/something. You can follow RCR on Mastodon at podcast.social at RCR Podcast. You can follow RCR on Blue Sky at rcrpodcast.com. You can join our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/RCR Podcast and send feedback to feedback at rcrpodcast.com. You can write a review on iTunes if you want to. And until next time,
Retrocompute.
Yep. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Yes.
Great.
I should have had the dancing puppet up as well. I'm very pleased to have had an excuse to get that puppet out again.
Yeah, me too, actually. Yeah. Although now my hand is all sweaty because I've been wearing that thing for 3 hours. So maybe I have some regrets.
How did these get created? Like, who made these? Like, how is it that these exist?
So Charles had them made or something. They have a tag in them that says Frontier Creations, like custom puppets. So I don't know if he ordered them as is or if they come as a kit, because he mentioned, I think, having to do some gluing or something. So but yeah, you can order them. So like he asked us all, I think, what our favorite colors were. I seem to recall. That's why I'm purple. He didn't give us any context. He just like asked us a couple of basic questions and then surprised us all with these things. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, like it requires more hands than one has to actually operate.
I was going to say, Paul's really got the hands going on over there. Like, I don't know how you're doing that.
I don't bother with the hands, but yeah, there's sticks. There's sticks that you can attach to the hands, but I just do the mouth. But yeah. So yeah,
Paul, is your favorite color a sort of terracotta?
I don't remember being asked that, so it's possible that I just got.
Maybe not everybody got asked, but yeah, they're beautifully made. Like they're thick and like.
No, they look very impressive.
Yeah, which is why my hands all sweaty, because they're like really thick and like real like Muppet felt and
They look exactly like some kind of Muppet TV show.
Yeah, they look exactly like Muppets. Yeah, they're beautifully made.
Yeah. Really, and I think I had the impression listening to the P episode that the puppet episode that Charles did some like glue gun work.
Yeah, I think he made some of the accessories, maybe like some like the eyeglasses, or like he definitely did some stuff. Yeah, it was quite an effort by the sounds of it. So
they couldn't have been cheap, I would think.
Probably not. No. But I love it. I will keep that forever.
Nice.
Yeah. We were both saying that Quinn and I were both saying that like we still have them both within arm's reach, basically.
It lives in a box right behind me.
As you would.
So much.
As you would.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get Charles on here again at some point.
Yeah, we should do that.
But, okay. Anyway, I think we did finish, right? Yeah, we did. So
yes, we still have YouTube on though.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so the stream of obscenities should wait just a little longer.
Hold on. Yeah,
we'll wait.
But anyway, yes. Thanks YouTube for following along, and for
YouTube.
the people who are actually waiting for the audio feed. I promise I'll get to them soon. Charles has shamed me now by actually getting chicken missiles out.
There you go.
So. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Beep, 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 beep. Oh, too soon.